Really, it is. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Brenneman.
The Candyman can.
You're hot. Doesn't get any better when it's baseball season and we can bring on Tom Candiotti and we get to play that open, the best open in radio. How we doing, Tom?
I'm with you, man. I laugh every time you guys play that. It's a killer, man.
Well, it's funny because, when we put it together a few years ago, you got Tom Brenneman and, and Brentley and just the voice guys, the guys that the play-by-play guys calling this stuff. And, did they play that song in the, when you played at all? When you were playing, did any radio station or even in the ballpark play it?
You know what? When I was pitching for the Dodgers for 6 years, I had to listen to Nancy B. Heffling on the organ playing the Candyman when I went out. And I think everybody was giving me such a bad time. I'm going, oh, man. I was almost I was the one guy that dreaded his walk-up.
Hey, Tom, how do you not hear that song and not be in a good mood after you hear that?
Totally.
I mean, you're just like the rest of the day. You're walking on air, right?
Then I'm in a good mood, just like watching the D-backs score about 1,000 runs. That's going to be in a good mood, too. Was that crazy last night?
So what's crazier, the 4 back-to-back home runs last year or what you witnessed last night?
Oh, my God. I almost have to say last night. I never saw anything like that before. I mean, there's 5 guys that had 2 hits in that inning. Corbin Carroll, the only guy that didn't get a hit in the game. He walked twice in that inning. Perdomo was 1 batter away from getting 3 hits in 1 inning. I mean, it was just really crazy. And, talk about how hitting can get contagious. That was like an example of it. I mean, that was really, really amazing.
I thought Torey Lovullo explained it pretty well because you only had 1 home run in the game. That was Lourdes's in the first inning, right? But a lot of guys, as you know, Tom, you get 6, 7, 8, 9 runs up. You're swinging for the fences. He said that the plate discipline during those 18 batters of 14 runs, he was very impressed how guys were locked in. You had guys hitting dying quails. You had guys hitting fisters off the right field line. I mean, it was just nobody was really swinging for the fences per se.
Yeah, and I really think that's kind of the identity of this team. It's running and getting on base, stealing, first to third, first to home, those kind of things. That's how we generate runs. That's how they did it last year. And once in a while, a guy like Lourdes or a guy like Walker, they're gonna run into some, right? But there's no guys that are going to hit 40 and 50 home runs on this team. But there's guys that can hit the ball the other way. And I don't want to say old school because I think we use that term almost too much, but it's baseball that keeps constantly putting pressure on the defense. And that pitcher that was out there, I mean, whoever they were going to throw out there, they just couldn't come up for air. It was like bloopers were falling in, hard hit ground balls were going through the hole. Then a guy would run into one and just belt one into the gap. And it was just relentless all night long.
Yeah, Tom, last year we had you on several times talking about the runners in scoring position, the good old RISP. Not bad last night, 12 for 15 with runners in scoring position. Now, that might help that average a little bit this year, right?
That's just a ridiculous stat. I'm glad you told me that one. I hadn't heard that one before. But my goodness, that is just ridiculous. 12 for 15. Yeah. Think about that. Most of the time, if you go 3 for 8, that's great. Yeah. But that is just an insane number.
Tom, I'm curious. It took a little while, but it's done. They finally made it official that they got their left-hander in Jordan Montgomery on a 1-year deal. How does this change this rotation now that you got 2 lefties with Eduardo Rodriguez in that mix?
My goodness, here's what you've been down there. You're a player, you're a former player, and so when all of a sudden your front office is in there to win too, and that just sparks everybody in the dugout. All the guys on the team, they know that they're going for it. They got a taste of it last year, and now they were a little bit short on starting pitching last year. And, that's not the case as we stand right now. And once Montgomery gets, his legs underneath him and he's able to go out there and pitch, and once Erod gets his legs, his lat, all fixed and he's ready to pitch, this rotation has become very, very deep. And rarely also, do you see the same 5 guys start all year too? Someone's going to get sore. They might need a start or two or whatever. But, little things happen during the season. But now they have depth to go with that. And so they're set up really, really well now in that rotation.
Tom, it's interesting you bring that up because when that hit Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, we wake up, we were all kind of like, wow, they signed who? They're going to sign who? And at that point, when you hear Mike Hazen talk about the cooperation, Ken Kendrick, who's had had some tight purse strings the last several years, but that money they made obviously during the World Series run or whatever, that was like, okay, they're dialed in. I think for Diamondback fans, that proof is in the pudding right now when you're going out and spending that kind of money for that kind of talent.
It's as I said, it's a beautiful thing when ownership is bought into and they want to win just as badly as the players do. That is like just a great sign. So, I think that shows, the whole D-back organization, the whole city, the whole community, that they're going for it right now. They made it a sizable investment on just not on Montgomery, but really, signing Gurriel back and trading for Suarez. And I mean, there's just, you got Peterson, you got, Grichuk, and probably more are going to come as the trading deadline approaches also. I think everyone always needs bullpen help. So, but I'm really interested to see how Ginkel performs. He's probably the guy that has like the best stuff down in the bullpen. It's like just an unhittable slider, that he throws, and he still runs it up there 96, 97. And so, this guy could close for a lot of teams. We said that last year, and now he's probably going to get his opportunity. And so I'm anxious to see how Kevin performs.
Tom Candiotti with us here talking some D-backs. So when it comes to expectations for you personally, with all that you just said and the support of the ownership, is it win the division or wild card or bust, or what is the expectations that you have?
Well, when you listen to Torrey, the only thing he's worried about is the game at hand.
Okay.
And so he's worried about tonight, that's it, the old cliche. But I think the goal now, and it's been proven now over the last however many years, is just to get in. And it's not necessarily winning your division. I mean, look what happened to the Dodgers. Look what happened to the Braves. These guys that, all of a sudden had a sit a week. And when we played the Dodgers last year after we beat the Brewers, the Dodgers looked so flat. It looked like they were a step or two behind, and they almost looked like they were swinging like it was spring training. And you kind of lose that edge a little bit, I think. So I think the goal is just to get into the postseason and get hot, be playing hot, get hot at the right time, and then you can run the table.
I got to ask you a little bit about Blaze Alexander, the rookie, 2 for 5 last night, and to see that on Twitter, him getting the announcement he was going to be playing in the big leagues, very emotional, I think, for a lot of us to get that first opportunity, whatever sport, whatever league you're in. I can imagine your first call up as well, too, Tom. But talk to us about this young guy. Really didn't pay much attention about this kid during spring training. He was like, who is this kid? How would you describe his abilities?
Well, as we're going to spring training, you're trying to, in your head, you're really trying to do some roster construction, right? And, you're looking at, okay, what happens if, Perdomo gets hurt, for an extended period of time, not just for a day or two or whatever, but who's going to play shortstop? Ahmed is gone. Marte, yeah, he can fill in, but he's not a shortstop. You want to leave him alone. Who's going to fill in? And so when we watched Blaze Alexander in the spring, I said, okay, this guy's, he's got good feet. He's got an accurate arm. He moves really well. And the little bit that we saw him handle the bat, he was more of a contact hitter. He liked hitting the ball the other way. And maybe he's not driving the ball out of the ballpark or just, shooting the gaps, but he's getting little line drive base hits and played extremely well and won that job. I mean, it wasn't his. He had to win that. And so those are the guys that you get really excited for that, that put the work in, won the job. And then when you have a night like he had, that's icing on the cake.
So are you ready? I mean, I know one game's down. You got a few more left. It's a long season, Candy. Long season.
Right. 161 more. Right?
Oh man. Well, hey, you guys are great. We love listening to you, and we love having you on, man. Thanks so much for the time as always.
Yep, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Tom Candiotti joining us here on Rock and Manooch with Jimmy B. Appreciate him making some time for us as the Candyman. What a hell of a knuckleballer he was. Brought to you today by Twin Peaks, 5 Valley locations. Great place to watch all the games, including the ones tonight. Twin Peaks, your sports headquarters for all the college hoop madness. Coming up, our Learner Row, one call. That's all our locks for